Hello everyone, welcome back. Today is October 21st. It is currently 5:28 p.m. Today's video is going to be about why lies are weak and how they lead you to hell. So many people, they grow up and, maybe they hear from their parents, maybe they hear from their religious community or someone older than them that, you shouldn't tell lies. And I don't think that a lot of people have properly fleshed out why you shouldn't tell lies, kind of what is the harm. Because for anyone who's told a lie, you might have discovered that in some cases you tend to get what you want. You tend to get what you lie for. And so for a young person, it can create this weird paradox of, well, I'm being told not to lie on one hand, but on the other hand, lying gets me the cookie or it gets me out of trouble. And some people will kind of vary and say that there are degrees of lies and there are certain levels of lying, but I'm of the opinion that, for the most part, a lie is a lie, regardless of the degree or extent of the lie. And don't get me wrong, sometimes, oftentimes I will withhold the truth. So I won't share all the information necessary, but I will instead share or give a response that is the condensed version of reality, of truth. Particularly if I'm looking to preserve this person's feelings or to not kind of aggravate a situation, I might not say everything, all the details. But I wouldn't tell a blatant lie. And sometimes with many people, and myself included, you say something that you think is true, that as far as you're aware is true, but perhaps on further inspection, on an increase of knowledge, you find out that actually your idea was wrong. And so now you have to start telling the new truth that you are aware of. But let's begin with the first statement. Lies are weak. Why? Part of it is just obvious. It's not the truth. So when a lie is questioned, when it's kind of attacked, it will buckle. And oftentimes it doesn't always buckle immediately, because what you'll notice with people who tell lies is they tell more and more lies. So the first lie gets questioned and the person realizes that, oh man, I don't have an answer to this question because it's not truth. I've told a lie. And so where does that lead them? Well, the lie doesn't want to die, so it tries to squeeze its way out like a virus and extend itself onto something else. And so you tell a second lie, and then a third lie, and then a fourth lie. And for anyone who's paying attention, anyone who's listening, and anyone who's observing, you'll start to notice this constant shifting of reality in order to sustain the lie. And so inherently, lies are just weak. They don't uphold to scrutiny. They don't uphold to rigorous questioning. And when a person tells a lie, they might be able to get away with it with people of, let's say, perhaps lower intellect, lower character, lower investment as well. Sometimes people just tell you nonsense, and because of the context and because of the situation, you just go, okay, that sounds like, complete BS, but I'm not going to question it because I don't care. I don't have time for this. Meanwhile, you're thinking like, oh, I've really fooled them, but you fooled no one but yourself. And so lies just do not uphold the test of time. They don't uphold the test of scrutinization. They don't uphold the test of, just attacks. For a lie to continue existing, it has to keep moving. The truth is like a rock in a grassy field and wind is hitting it. The rock isn't going to go anywhere. It's stable. It's secure. A rock is a rock. The truth is the truth. It doesn't need to defend itself. It just is the reality. Now, unfortunately, in this day and age, the truth is still going to need people to uphold it and carry it, but it doesn't change the nature of what it is, right? Just because you pick up a rock and throw it into the water doesn't change what the rock is. It's still a rock. It's just in a different place. And even if the rock were to stay in a stream, nice and stable, again, this is referring to the truth, and it's eroded over time by the water passing by, it just breaks up into tiny little rocks. We call that sand. The rock becomes smooth, but it still remains exactly what it always was, a rock. And so ultimately, lies are weak inherently because for them to exist, they have to keep moving and they have to work one step, two steps ahead of whatever is chasing it, whatever is trying to reveal the lie. Which leads us into, why do lies lead you to hell, so to speak? The reason lies lead you to hell is because of the same reason that they are weak. They have to keep moving. And so in order to sustain a lie, you're going to have to do things that make no sense, that are irrational, that are illogical in order to sustain that lie. To be able to say that, well, what I said at the time was a lie, but now is the truth because I went and did something. So lies will make a fool out of you if you let them. When you lie about yourself, your character, and your qualities, what you essentially create is a facade. There's like a mirror version of you. And when you project that to the world and the world accepts this mirror version of you, you're actually living in hell because everyone thinks you're this mirror version, but in reality, you're someone completely different. And so you just have to keep perpetuating this lie, which is just exhausting. It takes a lot of energy. This is also why lies are weak. When you tell the truth, you just say it once, maybe you say it twice, a little bit louder for the people at the back, but you don't have to keep reiterating it unless it's being attacked. But lies, they're hard to keep track of. You have to tell it over and over and over again because people are going to want to see and hear, does the story change? Do the facts change? Do the details change? But ultimately, when you start living that lie, you're basically allowing a mirror version of you to exist and pouring your energy into this mirror version of you. And what is that doing? It's siphoning energy out of the real version of yourself. Lying also leads you to having distrustful relationships. The people around you can't trust you. They can't rely on you. And that ultimately you can think of whatever. Who cares about any other person? But when you tell so many lies to other people, to yourself, all these promises you don't uphold, all of these agreements that you go back on, you can't even trust yourself. You're not a trustworthy person to yourself. And so anytime you say something, there's a part of you that questions like, is this more lies? Or are we actually going to do this? Well, if we look at the past, they've always just been lies. And so maybe this thing that you said is going to happen, but more likely it won't happen because, you're a liar. And when you find yourself in a situation where you cannot trust yourself, you cannot rely on yourself to follow through on the things you say, the toxicity it adds into all of your relationships, into your life, how it permeates, is essentially a living hell. You have a mirror version of yourself. You can't make any promises to yourself. You can't uphold any contracts or any sort of agreements. Everyone around you thinks you're a liar, so they don't really want to associate with you. They don't want to deal with you. What else is that other than hell? And so what are your options? You could try something that I would call radical honesty. So tell the truth as often as you can. You could try what Jordan Peterson says of tell the truth or at least don't lie. So again, that's kind of like what I said to start, where you're not going to give all the details, but the details you do give are truthful. They're honest. They're immersed in reality. So you could try that and see where it takes you, where it leads you. And because I've mentioned a lot of Islamic anecdotes in my videos recently as well, or during the course of this 30-day challenge, I'll also add a hadith that I had heard when I was younger that a person who was deemed sort of a sinner, he asked Muhammad, the prophet of Islam, that, I do all of these terrible things, these sinful things. Which of them should I stop doing? And the response he received was stop telling lies. And the gentleman said that, what do you mean? I gamble, I drink, I do all these terrible things. What does lying have to do with any of this? And again, the answer he received was simply stop telling lies. So then he goes and he tries this for, let's say, a week or a month. And what he quickly discovers is that he can't go and get drunk because the only source of income he has is from thieving. And in order to buy alcohol, if someone were to question him hey, where'd you get this money? For him to tell the truth would mean at that time, in that context, that he would have to declare that he was a thief, and the punishment for thieves was to cut off their hands. So now he can't go and thieve and he can't go and drink alcohol. And he continued to find in his day-to-day life that if he were to ever be questioned about his acquirement of anything or his current state of, let's say sobriety or whatever, he would have to lie in order to dodge whatever kind of questioning he's facing. And so he quickly found that by not lying, it also downstream made sure that he didn't do all these other things that he had deemed were his own vices. So I'll leave you with that story. So let me know what you think down below in the comments. Let me know about stories where, you told a lie or you told the truth and what became of it. Thank you for watching. Take care. Enjoy.